The Pilliga is a national park in Australia, and apparently there's something in it. At least that's what they claim in There's Something in the Pilliga. What we have here is a found footage Bigfoot movie with no clear picture of Bigfoot, a lot of boring driving scenes, and a ton of yelling back and forth. But at this point, that's a staple of the found footage genre, and I promise, if you can sit through the first 60 minutes of this trash heap, it gets better at the end. It opens up with Jay and our cameraman Dylan.
So, what are the plans? Oh, yeah, I thought we'd just head down to the ball parks, mate, have a bit of a feed, get the dog...
I'd tell you about what they're talking about here if I could understand them. A pretty thick accent. But luckily, you get used to it pretty quickly. Do you like what you see here? The hood of a truck? Because that's most of this movie. Luckily, you're just watching a recap, so you won't have to sit through much of it. But I had to, so I gotta make you suffer a little bit. Anyway, they go to a popular hangout spot called the Boar Baths, where people can barbecue and go for a swim. We see what kind of guy Jay is here. A dog.
Looks like I'm getting lucky tonight, mate. Don't know about you.
Oh, yeah, right.
Well...
There are two girls swimming in the Boar Baths, and one of them calls him Peter.
Sorry.
Misidentification? Or is there something else going on here? After a little bit, some old people hop in the pool, and they give the two guys a stink eye for filming them. Jay goes over to let his dog, Wolfie, take a dip, and everyone yells at him. Personally, I say let the dog swim. I'd play with him. But these guys don't want to have anything to do with that. After a bit of back and forth, Jay and Dylan head out. Eventually, they make it to a bar and plan on staying the night there to celebrate the new year. Oh, yeah, it's New Year's Eve. In the bar, they meet Tammy and Liz. They also meet a guy named Neil, who has an obsession over Tammy and thinks that she's his girlfriend, even though she's made it pretty clear she isn't. He still won't take no for an answer. A fight breaks out and ends with the four of them peeling out of there in Jay's truck.
Let's go!
So what do they do now? Well, Jay has an idea, but admittingly, it's a pretty dumb one. Instead of going back to someone's house and having a drunken one-night stand, he decides to drive all night, mind you, to the middle of the Pillaga to see his friend Hermes. His reasoning for doing this isn't really quite clear at first, but we do figure it all out later. They get to his house, which looks like it's seen better days, but he does have some pretty interesting things hung up on the wall. In the end, I guess he's not home. Great. Drive all night and Hermes is a no-show. So, seeing how his vehicle is still there, the guys decide to go look for him while the girls hang out in the truck. After a little while, Tammy and Liz grow impatient and decide to just hoof it.
I had a look on the camera. They've definitely gone.
Honestly, there are a ton of red flags going on here. You just met these guys in a bar. They drive you all night to the middle of nowhere to take you to some rundown shed. Yeah, I would have left a long time ago. Eventually, the guys make it back to the truck and find the girls walking on the road. It turns out that Jay lost his dog while looking for Hermes, so that's what took him so long. I guess all is forgiven, and the girls hop back in the truck and join them in their search for Wolfie. After a little while, they do hear a dog barking, and everyone runs into the woods looking for it. But what they find is much worse. A dead body. Specifically, the one girl that was swimming at the Boar Bath. They all freak out a little bit, and for some dumb reason, Jay loads the body up on his truck and decides that he's going to get rid of it himself. His reasoning for not calling the cops is that he's got some warrants or something, but still, I think taking a body and disposing of the evidence is going to be worse than any warrants. Plus, They have all this on film to prove that they're innocent. Even so, Jay is adamant that he has to get rid of her. However, Liz wants nothing to do with this decision, and she walks away from it, leaving her friend Tammy behind.
If you walk out, that is.
Well, Jay dumps the body and gets rid of the evidence, and they eventually find Liz walking around and convince her to get back into the truck. I mean, honestly, she's probably like a few days' hike from the nearest house, so she doesn't really have a choice. As they drive around, their luck goes from bad to somehow even worse, because the cops pull Jay over. I'm pretty sure everyone is thoroughly crapping their pants at this point. Jay plays it pretty cool and gives the cop his information. Once again, he reads his name as Peter, and Jay confirms that that is his real name. He asks the group if they've seen anything suspicious, but what are they gonna say? "All right, yeah, we found a dead body back there a ways, and we gone done took care of that for you, mate." Oh God, I am truly sorry for that atrocious Australian accent. No, Jay tells them that they were just out driving around. The cop then says a man is missing that's matching Neil's description. So it turns out he followed them out there? That's not good. Again, they say they'd never heard of the guy and that they don't know him. And with nothing else to say, the cop lets him go. Now they're out driving again, and we hear Wolfie bark. So they head out looking for him again. But it's getting dark now, and they can just barely see something walk in front of the camera. Our only full-body look at Bigfoot. It's now dark outside, and Dylan goes back to the truck with the girls while Jay looks for his dog. They hear a deep growl coming from the woods, and for some reason, everyone decides to run toward the dark, scary woods, where they just heard a huge wild animal. Smart. Everyone gets split up, chaos ensues, and I'm pretty sure Tammy is killed, but from what? We don't know yet. All we can see are red eyes in the woods. Dylan and Liz run for a while until they find the second girl from the boar baths hiding in a tree. This is where we learn a little bit about what's going on here and Jay's motivation. So it turns out that the first girl at the boar baths, the dead body they dumped, Jay and Hermie all go to the Pilliga to hunt for Bigfoot. And apparently, this was his plan all along? He wanted to bring everyone out here for a Sasquatch hunt? I guess so. But we don't get any more details because the red eyes appear behind the girl, and she's toast. Dylan and Liz run for a while. They split up and then find each other over and over again. Eventually, Liz falls into a hole, and Dylan's just like, "Sorry, can't help you. There's some freaky red eyes out here." So he takes off. He makes it to some sort of creek, but when he turns around, he sees a dying Neil. So he freaks out and takes off in the other direction. After a lot of running, and I mean a lot of running, Dylan sees the sun poking through the trees, and he finds a road. He made it! Well, not so fast, because the creature gets him and pulls him off to the side of the road, leaving his camera there to be found. And it doesn't take long for it to be seen. This old lady picks it up, and we can see that this is the couple from the boar baths. Man, this is a small town. There's only like 8 people in it. They drive around, not knowing the camera is still recording, and then we see Jay's truck speeding closer and closer until he smashes into him. And that's the end. What kind of sense does that make? So was Jay feeding the creature human beings? But then him and Dylan seem to be pretty good friends. Why would he take him out there too? And I'm still not sure of the reason why the name change. Maybe he's starting to get a reputation with all the locals as the guy who feeds the beast, so he changed his name from Peter to Jay? I don't know. There's something in the Pillaga is, in my opinion, mediocre. I'll start with the good. For found footage, the camera is nice and clear. You can always see what you're supposed to, and it looked good. The acting is surprisingly well done by the main cast, and the end held my attention. However, the beginning is so boring that you'll never be able to sit through it to see the end. And honestly, it's not worth it. Skip the first 60 minutes and start from there. You'll be confused, but that's better than being bored and wasting your time. I give There's Something in the Pillaga 1.5 dogs in the pool out of 4.
This chick's left the door open to the shower. Look at this. Oh, shit, it's a bloke.